One of the most important jobs as a parent that you will ever have is to tell your child about God. I would like to say that the world is a nice, safe place, but we all know that's not true. There is evil around every corner, and Satan is just waiting to snatch our kids up. But God knew that. So what did he do? He gave us verses in the Bible to help us raise our children. Proverbs 22:6. Direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. That doesn't mean that your children will never sin. That doesn't mean that they won't get into trouble and maybe get a little far away from God every now and then. But what that means is when you teach your children the right thing, they will remember that. That's going to be their way of life. That's going to be what they base their life on. Okay? Nowadays, evil is becoming normal. People are trying to normalize stuff that is evil. And that is incredibly scary. What our job is, as a parent, in my opinion, it's the number one job as a parent that you could ever have as a parent, is to make sure your children know about God. Make sure you teach them the right way. Make sure they know that they have a very loving God, but that there are rules that you have to follow as a Christian, as a child of God, as a human. You can't just go do whatever you want. You can't just go live the life that you think is fun. And the devil will try to get their attention in every way he possibly can. The devil's side looks like a fun park. It's got all the lights and the rides and the screams and the excitement and the beauty. Every way that a child can be deceived. And if they have not gotten a good grounding in God, they're just ripe for the picking for Satan. He can get them so easy. And I know our lives can get very hectic. And the last thing that we feel like doing sometimes is sitting down with our kids and reading the Bible or having a little Bible study with them so they can learn about God. If we don't teach them, I'm sorry to say, the world as it is now, they're not going to learn it anywhere. Well, maybe by the grace of God, they will learn it somewhere else. But most of the time, they do not learn it. And if they don't hear it at home, chances are great they're not going to hear it. Okay? We have got to be on our game when it comes to our kids. And I usually don't try to tell people what they need to do, but in this case, I'm going to say it. You need to be praying over your children. We need to be praying over our children daily, over every area of their life. Don't leave anything out. All these times that we sit down that we want to be resting, watching TV, playing on our phones, scrolling through social media, relaxing, that time needs to be spent, no matter how hard it is, at least some of it every day, at least some of our time, sincerely put into our kids, invest in their souls. Because if we don't put that time in, teaching them about God and teaching them about salvation, if we don't take that time, the devil is going to take that time. I can promise you, he's going to put more into your child than you will, if you let him. And our precious children deserve more than that. They need our prayers, our constant prayers. They need our constant guidance, and they need our example of how to live right and how to be, how to treat people, how to worship God, how to stay on the right path, how to resist temptation. Does that mean we are perfect? Absolutely not. But acknowledging that we're not perfect and acknowledging that we all need forgiveness, that is what we need to be setting an example for our kids for. And I have not done that always. I have not. And that's why I can get up and say it. I know that it's so hard sometimes to put the worries and the stress, because Satan will bombard your brain. If he thinks he can get your mind and your attention off your child, he's going to do it. So he will bombard your brain with money worries. You got to do this for your job. Oh, you're too tired. Just relax. They're just going to get in your ear. Keep them occupied with the TV. Keep them occupied with the phone. They're fine. Anything to get your attention off your child. And while you're doing that, he's going behind your back. He's taking their hand and he's leading them down that path. He is taking them with him. And if you think about that, if you visualize that, because that's exactly what he's doing, that has scared me so bad sometimes. That has scared me into realizing that If I'm not sitting down and making sure my children are learning about God, they may never know. You know, they could get into so much trouble that we can keep them out of just by investing that time. Investing that time in your child's soul and their salvation. Because if God teaches about it, it's important, right? And nothing is more important to God than a child. It says it numerous times in the Bible. And he gives us kids to take care of. They're his. God loans us his children. We're just the earthly parents. He's their heavenly father. And God gives them to us to raise, to take care of, and to teach, to love, to nurture, to make the world a better place. And Proverbs 22:6 is just one of the verses. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. So if that's something you haven't done, if you've not done what you should, I have come to that point. If you've not been the way you should with your kids, if you know that you need to start right now, buckle down with them. It is not too late right now. Start right now. It is never too late to start with your kids. Don't just say, well, I've not done it so far, I'm not even going to start. Don't say that. Take the time now. Start right now, this very second. Start praying over your kids. Get them down right now and do a Bible study. If you're not very familiar with the Bible, look up a verse, look up a chapter, look up something to study with your kids. Look up the Bible stories. Noah, Daniel, Moses, Jesus, the birth of Jesus. Get in and just study. Just read with your kids. Put that time in. If you're not with them at this very second, start praying right now. Start praying. It is never too late, and our kids deserve it. Our kids need to know about God. So do it now. Do it now for them. Do it now. Just refuse to let Satan have your children. Start right now. It is not too late.